Hi, my name is Emily McNellis, and I'm a junior here at Texas A&M University Commerce. I cannot wait to be a high school English teacher, and I've loved learning how to better use technology in my classroom this semester. As a future English teacher, I know that one of the big things I'll do in my classroom is lecture and facilitate class discussions about the literature we are learning. To pair with my lecture, I will use Prezi or PowerPoint to give the students a visual, and I even want to embed music or videos for audios as well. Assistive technology is defined as any item or piece of equipment that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities in all aspects of life, including at school, work, home, and in the community. So, for students with ADHD, having videos or bright images on my PowerPoints and Prezis might better help keep their attention. Having a visual and audio will also assist visual or audio learners. I also think it would be great to give my students links to free audio of the books, poems, prose, different passages that we're reading, as this will assist students that are dyslexic or just have a hard time concentrating on the reading, especially since we'll be learning a lot of literature throughout my English class. I also want to use Kahoot a lot just as a fun way to review and do different things in the class. I think it would be a fun way to keep all the students engaged with their learning. For my experience as a teacher has mostly been through volunteer work at the city park and then at my church. I haven't done my observation or student teaching or anything yet, and so it's all been just from volunteering with children. On the left is a picture of me and some of my kindergartners at church from last year as we built a gingerbread house. Um, what I tend to do on Sundays at church is lead them through music, games, memory verses, crafts, and Bible stories. And on the right is my kids from Kids Club, which is a ministry that I lead out of our BSM here on campus. And me and my other volunteers, we go to the city park every Thursday and we hang with the kids that live in the government housing across the street. But I'm the one that actually teaches them, and I lead them through games, a Bible story, sometimes a craft, and a snack. In this picture, it's kind of hard to tell, but all the kids are holding up little pumpkins. That's what we did this Thursday. We painted pumpkins for Halloween. So all of my actual teaching experience has been from kids, but I actually want to teach high school. But these experiences have helped me learn how to deal with diverse kids that come from all different backgrounds and have different learning styles. My degree area is English, and I've taken lots of different literature classes here in college that will all be incorporated into my teaching, which I'm really excited about. For my hobbies, I really enjoy books. I really love reading. Kind of an English nerd, and I like anything from classic literature like Frankenstein or Edgar Allan Poe to modern young adult literature like The Hunger Games or John Green or something. So I love reading. I also love Netflix. Just to kind of relax or chill, like watching Friends or the Disney movies on there. Just a nice way to not stress out about homework. On the left is a picture of my family. I'm very family oriented. I love spending time with my family. I also love spending time with my friends. And on the right is a picture of my boyfriend who I also enjoy spending time with. We like to cook together, watch movies together, and just kind of hang out and go on different adventures along with our big group of friends. So my hobbies are mostly just hanging out with people. I'm very extroverted, and then reading and watching shows. So for my technology philosophy, technology is crucial to education today. Um, I really like this quote by David Warlick that says, "We need technology in every classroom and in every student and teacher's hands because it's the pen and paper of our time, and it's the lens through which we experience much of our world." Um, Technology is a way to incorporate diversity into everyday curriculum through online games, presentations, videos, music, audiobooks, at-home apps for review, even following the lecture on if they have iPads or something, and even more than that. Technology is interwoven into our students' everyday lives, so I have to learn how to weave it into their learning so that they're better engaged. with what we're talking about in my class. If I don't use technology, I know that they're going to get glazed over eyes and they're not going to be interested in what we're talking about. It's absolutely a key to teaching nowadays. Not only that, but it can create more diversity of learning for the students because there's so many different options. By using diverse technology, I can reach more of my students every single day. And it isn't just for fun, but to help them learn to use it in an intelligent and appropriate way, which will help them grow and apply themselves and to be better people as well as students. Which is why I included my quote from Martin Luther King Jr. I actually included it in my education philosophy as well. It says the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that's the goal of true education. And that has to be true as we incorporate me personally, but everyone else too. It's how we have to incorporate technology into the classroom to not just let them have fun, but to teach them how to use it in a way that's going to make them better people and have a stronger character too. For utilizing technology in my class, I think that it's really important. I want to use it in my classroom to encourage their learning so that they want to interact with me, but also with their peers. I want to make the class more diverse so it's not just boring lectures, but I want them to have group work, student presentations, games, and more than that. I also wanted to benefit my students' different learning styles because some are going to learn through reading and writing, but some are going to learn through audio, some through visuals, some through physical object lessons. So technology gives a lot of ways to benefit different learning styles. Plus, I want my class to have technology so that it's creative and fun, and so that my students don't get bored. It's not any fun to have bored students. For my favorite learning theory and to apply it in my classroom, I really like operant conditioning from B.F. Skinner's Behaviorism. And operant conditioning works off of a reward and punishment system. I found a really cool article over this by Rebecca May Glothling, and it's how to use operant conditioning in your classroom. And she emphasizes the need for consistency of rewarding good behavior and then punishing the bad. And she says, like, to give specific instructions in the beginning of the semester to implement a reward and punishment system. The biggest thing she says, though, is that you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent in the rewards and in the punishments. And for punishment, she says to give a warning before the punishment so students understand the consequences. And then that you have to give punishment consistently if the undesired behavior does not decrease. For example, I could give detention when students do not turn work in on time, especially if they have an excusable reason and contact me 24 hours before the assigned time, that's fine. But if they don't, then that's not excusable and they would have to get detention, and that would have to be a consistent thing that I do. For rewards, she says to give rewards to students that respond in the desirable way consistently based on the previously explained reward system. Her example was to give a homework pass for an assignment of the child or student's choice. I really like that. I think a homework pass is a great reward. I'd like to use that in my classroom. I could also give candy or extra credit as positive reinforcement. And the last thing that she talks about is changing up the classroom to reduce or avoid negative behavior, bad behavior. And for my class, this could be changing up my teaching methods or even changing up the seating arrangement. And I really just like this method because it specifically rewards the good behavior, which motivates the students to keep doing good work. But I also like the idea of punishment because I really believe that if it's enforced with the right attitude, then the students can learn and know what they did wrong, and they can change that behavior and then gain the rewards. This semester I've learned about lots of different teaching methods that will best suit different learning styles in my students. I've learned through some of our discussions in this class that there are four main types of learning styles. There's visual, auditory, reading and writing, and then kinesthetic. And so some of the different teaching methods I want to incorporate are lectures with presentations because it'll benefit not only my auditory learners but also visual learners. I want to incorporate videos because it will give a physical representation for the kinesthetic learners to see that, but it also gives sound and visuals to audio or visual learners. I think group work is great, like making posters or projects, because this will benefit kinesthetic learners. Note taking and reading passages, as it's English class, will benefit reading and writing learners. And then the class discussions, student presentations, and demonstrations can obviously incorporate different aspects of learning just based on the students and how they choose to go about the discussing, the presenting, or the demonstrating. I think that all these different teaching methods are great and will bring creativity and diversity into my classroom and help the students be engaged with the learning material, me as their teacher, but also with their peers. So for technology in school culture, it's definitely going to change. The more technology is incorporated, the more the school culture is going to change. And Andrew Marcinek addresses 3 ways that the culture is going to change, and the way the culture should be based on this. The first is one of openness and trust. So the school district has to trust its educators, and the educators have to trust their students to use technology in a positive manner to benefit their learning. He says that instead of locking down the network so that so many things are inaccessible to the students, that it should be open so that there are more opportunities given to educate the students and the teachers on how to better use technology within an educational context. The second point is one of risk and innovative practice. Risks are going to come with technology. It's not always going to work perfectly, and sometimes the class will be chaotic as students use technology in groups for learning. But he says that that's okay because it's part of incorporating the technology into the classroom and promoting innovation and new things. The third point he makes is one of exploration and sharing, and practice. And he said that this would involve giving professional development training to the teachers on how to better use the technology in their classroom and to share new ideas with them. It would then be encouraged for teachers to explore new ways to do this and then pass that on to their students. And then he says, don't focus so much on the devices being used in the class, but more importantly, on the process toward the learning goals or objectives. And I really like this quote that he uses because it brings the focus back to the teaching, and that the technology has to make the teachers better in order for it to be used effectively. And so this school culture, I think, should be better implemented the more we use technology. I really do believe that technology in the classroom will improve student reflection, collaboration, and community. For student reflection, I would love for my students to do a blog over the things they're learning in my class, and this would have them reflecting on the literature, the class lectures and presentations, and I would like to see what they think about the material and how it relates to the world around them, and I would like to see that through their blog. And I really think that in doing that, it would make them stop and take time to reflect on what they've learned through writing. For collaboration, I think that group work, but especially using Google Docs, is fantastic because students can share their ideas, collaborate on their essays, group PowerPoint presentations, and they can do all of that in class when I split them up into groups, but also they can do it from the comfort of their own home. This allows them easier access to engage with each other about what they've been learning. And lastly, I do believe that technology can create a better enhanced community because technology allows for more connections, whether that's through social media, online research, or collaboration through their Google Docs. It can connect more people and students that otherwise might not get connected, and create a greater sense of community with easier communication, and allows them to work together outside of my classroom. So I think all of that just really benefits the students as people, but also as students in my class. Lastly, I want to use technology in my classroom every week, but I don't want to do the same thing over and over in my lesson plans. I want to shake it up when I choose to use technology. Like sometimes I want to use clickers for attendance, but also for them to answer a few warm-up questions over vocabulary that will be introduced in that class that day. I also will do lectures but I want to incorporate Prezi or PowerPoint so it gives them a visual of what we're discussing. But I also want to teach them how to use PowerPoint and Prezi themselves, and I want them to use that for their student presentations, whether it's an individual presentation or a group presentation. I definitely want to use Kahoot for review before a quiz or test because games are always fun for the teacher but also for the students. I also want to teach them about Google Docs so that they can peer review and edit or even to collaborate on their group presentations in class and at home. And then I really want to use Dropbox for them to turn in their assignments so that I can view them, but also I can write comments on there and give them timely feedback on their work. I really want to use technology often in my classroom throughout my lesson plans, whether I'm lecturing, they're doing class discussion, watching a video, playing a game, answering questions, doing presentations, projects. I want technology to be interwoven into all of my teaching. And I want it to be in fun and creative ways, both to challenge my learning as a teacher, but also to challenge my students' learning. There are so many other types of technology that I want to learn about so that I can use them in my classroom. And these are my references, the two articles that I referenced earlier in my presentation. Thanks for listening to how I think technology is best going to be used in my classroom.